So guys, thank you so much for clicking on my video, and I apologise if there's loads of background noise. I don't know what to do about that, so I'm really sorry. But I just want to go straight into this because it seems to be kind of breaking news. This has just come out, like, well, by the time I upload this video, it will be a few hours ago, but it's just come out by the time I'm doing this video. So obviously, if there are more updates by the time I upload this video, please do drop them in the comments because I'd love to know anything you've heard about this. But it's basically about Prince Harry's court case in the UK. Now, he has about, I think, 5 or 6 lawsuits going on, or court cases going on. Some of them are to do with libel, some of them are to do with invasion of privacy, using unlawful means, and I think 2 of them are against the government, the Home Office, which is a government body that deals with security, with police, with immigration, and I think there are 2 cases against them. For judicial review, which is basically reviewing a decision that a government body has taken, and you're sort of alleging that they've gone beyond their powers or abused their power, or the decision was unfair and you want it to be reviewed. So just to give a little bit of background, when Harry left the royal family, or left being a working member of the royal family, the Home Office pulled his royal security. And you may recall in the Oprah interview, you know, him and Meghan were like, oh, they're going to pull our security, blah, 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 blah. And I just think it's amazing that, like, royal protection is paid for by the taxpayers, and they're obviously the Metropolitan Police, and they are paid for by the taxpayers. They're our police. And it just is amazing that you can have 2 individuals that think that they can leave the job but still have the benefits and the perks, that they think they can go to Canada in some deserted island or some secluded island in some billionaire's mansion, and they think that they can have royal security from the UK to protect them, or they think they can move to the US and have royal protection. It just seems so bizarre and entitled and privileged. So obviously they don't, because that's ridiculous, and there are some working members of the royal family who don't always have royal protection. So for example, Princess Anne, who is one of the hardest working members of the royal family, doesn't always have police protection. I think she does when she's on duty, but she doesn't otherwise. And of course, there's, you know, Prince Andrew's kids, Beatrice and Eugenie. There are, Princess Anne's kids. They don't have royal security. So, you know, they benefit from the royal security when they're at events, which is basically the same as Harry. So when he's at events, he will obviously have the benefit of royal protection. So, like, for example, when he's at the coronation, or when he's staying, for example, at Frogmore Cottage, which was on the Windsor estate, so it had royal protection, or at any of the palaces that have royal protection. So the issue is that he is saying that, so first of all, I believe one of his cases is that he's challenging the decision of the Home Office to strip him of his royal protection, which is paid for by the taxpayer. Then I think he's got a second claim, a second judicial review case, which is the one that is now being decided. And the second one was that he wishes to pay for the royal protection. Now, the reason why he wants to pay for royal protection is because he seems to believe that his family are under threat in some sort of special way. Now, I accept that there have been death threats against Meghan Markle. I accept that some people have been prosecuted over that, which I find quite remarkable, because Piers Morgan had a death threat on social media, and it was quite clear and quite obvious and in print, and the person wasn't even tried or prosecuted or convicted. So it seems a bit bizarre, but there we are. So I accept that, but what I don't accept is that it's any unique position. So when she's on the Netflix series trying to, you know, drag a tear out of her eye, going, I'm scared, you've made me scared. I don't believe that. And secondly, I don't think that they are in any unique position when compared to any other members of the royal family, or any other members of the royal family that have been attacked or have had threats, or any other high profile celebrity that's been attacked or had threats, and they don't have the benefit of royal protection. So I don't think that they are in any significant special position, but I do accept that there have been threats. Now, what Harry wants to do is he wants to pay for royal protection so that he can pay for his private security, but private security I understand, can't have guns. Now, the laws on guns are very strict in the UK, and so I think in terms of security, it's really only the police that can hold guns. And also, the police are privy to certain intelligence, and the Royal Protection Officers are privy to certain royal intelligence that obviously the normal private security guard would not be. And so for some reason, Harry wants access to intelligence. I think, first of all, it's ridiculous that, like, when does he ever come to the UK? You know, when does Meghan ever come to the UK? When does his children ever come to the UK? And last time, there was a time when Harry was in the UK where he literally got out of the front car. He got out of a taxi on a main road right in the front entrance of a court building with his private security and no royal protection. And so it just seems to me that he's barely even here, and your wife is barely even here, your children are barely even here. What would you come here for? And then yet you're trying to portray like she's so in danger that she can't step foot in the UK without royal protection, even though you've got private security. And I think it's very unlikely that anybody, unless they are some sort of sophisticated, spy, would be able to get near you or Meghan, bearing in mind, your environment. You'd be in Buckingham Palace, or you'd be in Windsor, or you'd be in Kensington Palace, or you'd be in Soho House, or, you kept your relationship for like 6 months secret. So you were obviously able to do so. And before you got engaged or got married, she didn't have royal protection, so she was obviously safe. So I just think it's ridiculous because they go in circles that you can't, like, not the ordinary man can access. So anyway, but I don't minimize his fear for his wife and her safety, given obviously what happened to his mum. So the court has now ruled on this case as to whether or not he can pay for police protection, and the court has said no. So the court has said no, that he cannot pay for police protection, which I think is a really, really, really good decision. And I literally have a sigh of relief that this was the decision. First of all, I think it is the right decision. The taxpayers pay for this service, and we pay for this service to protect us. We don't pay for this service to protect Harry and his wife and his kids. And they've got multi-millions. So basically, he buggers off and he earns millions of pounds by slagging off the royal family, slagging off the institution, slagging off the country. And then he wants to use that money in order to pay for a privilege that working members of the royal family have. So to pay for royal security, you want to use the money that you've essentially earned by throwing your family and the royal family and the country and the press under the bus and giving such a bad impression of the UK and the UK media to, like, internationally. And then you want to use that money to then pay for royal protection is just like, ugh, whatever. So, you want the benefits of being a member of the royal family, but you've done none of the work, which is just ridiculous. We're not going to protect you all the way in Canada. We're not going to protect you in America. And I don't think you should have the privilege to pay for it here because you're just not a working member of the royal family. Now, there is an argument that, okay, he's mentioned how many people in the Taliban that he's killed. He's mentioned, he's given away some secrets, and he was a soldier, and he's a working member of the royal family, and he's a prince of birth. So of course he's got the risk. But I'm sorry, there's loads of other members of the royal family that have had threats. There are loads of other, celebrities and high-profile people that have had threats, and it's not, this court case would have presented a precedent, which means that other rich people can come and buy our police to protect them when our police should be protecting us. And there already is not enough money to go around for our justice system to work effectively. So I just don't think it's right that, rich people can come in and he can just continue to make money off the royal family and then just come in and pay for their privileges. I don't think so. He wants to throw his checkbook around. They think that money is power, and actually it's not, bro. This case has proven that it's not. And also, personally, I am so glad that this decision was made, because these two are so litigious. They love going around suing people, writing letters from their lawyer, threatening people. And I'm sure there's probably ones that we don't even hear about. And, they think they're really powerful, paying these big, aggressive lawyers. and threatening this, suing that, issuing this, complaining about that. And I'm actually glad that this didn't work this time. So here you can see parts of the judgment from the judge. So you can read the rest of this article if you want to find out what some of the judge's comments are. It's obviously not the full judgment, but there we are. So I think it's really a really good decision, because it's finally showed that they can't always win, because every time they issue these cases or issue these threats, they seem to silence people or get settlements, or they win their court cases, and they seem so empowered. You know, Meghan was talking after that court case that she issued against the newspaper for leaking the letter that she wrote to her father, and she was like, oh, you know, she was talking on this show, and she was like, well, I know it's hard, but I was fighting for what is right. You know, I'm paraphrasing, but it was essentially that. So I've created a precedent, you know, releases a statement, and it's like, oh, for God's sake, like, it's so righteous, when at the same time that bloody letter was leaked earlier to People magazine in America, when you were still a working member of the royal family, which in my view was to set out the landscape for your branding in America, because that was always going to be your move. You guys were always going to move to America and set up camp there. So anyway, so I think this is great, because it's showing no one is above the law, no one can buy the law, no one can buy their way, and you're not all that powerful, and you're not all that privileged, and you're going to be held accountable like everyone else in a court of law. And I think that that's really good, and it gives them a little bit of a setback, because I think that they take all these cases and when they win these cases, it makes them feel a bit more pompous and a bit more righteous. So I'm glad that this was the judge's decision. So guys, you know, put anything in the comment section that is appropriate as to what you think about this. You know, do you think he is deserving of royal protection, or do you think, well, no, he's not, and you know, royal protection shouldn't be bought, or do you think that actually it should be? So guys, please do subscribe to my channel. It will really help. And yes, so take care, guys, and press the like button, put a comment in the comment section, and don't forget to subscribe. Okay, guys, take care. Bye.